Danny, what you're talking about is basic maintenance. It seems, basic functionality. But you know what? You can't do that on 500 cameras. And there really isn't any, you know, camera administrative software to do this. It doesn't really exist.
Yeah, seems that way. Today, the best we found is that cameras and camera systems in general are often treated like a generic IP device. Monitoring IP devices is pretty straightforward. You check if it's on the network, and well, that's about it. Cameras record to hard drives, so you can check if the hard drive is getting written to, how much bandwidth maybe. But these measures aren't detailed enough to monitor your camera system's performance. So for example, there's a big difference between monitoring storage versus monitoring recordings. Say you monitor the storage on your hard drive. Well, a camera system hard drive should be at a somewhat constant level of utilization. Let's say 80% of 10 terabytes. Let's break that down into individual recordings for each camera. Each bar here represents how much storage the recordings of that camera take up, and all the bars add up to that 80% of the drive. Now, what if you have a camera that suddenly stops recording? The other cameras will start taking up more space on the hard drive, eventually erasing all recordings from the middle camera. But all the while, the total amount on the hard drive, 80%, may remain constant. You would never know there was a problem until the day you went looking for your recordings. If you want to know you have 30 days of recordings for each camera, well, you need to check that each camera has, in fact, 30 days of recording. You cannot treat the hard drive as a single unit. Another common health question is whether the system is online. For an IP system, this typically means pinging the device. Ping meaning, is the device internet connected? However, this isn't enough. First, the NVR or recorder may be live, but the cameras may not be. Just pinging the NVR doesn't tell you if the cameras are live. They're not necessarily connected to the internet directly. So by pinging the device, you don't actually know if the cameras behind it are live. Therefore, it's not a question of ping. It's usually a completely different protocol, like RTSP. To know if the camera is live and producing an image, you need to do an RTSP check, not a ping check. Finally, your camera can be on, it can be recording like you expect, but the camera can be pointing at a wall or to the floor. This is an especially obnoxious issue and a feature that goes far beyond what any generic monitoring software will provide. If you want to be sure that your camera is showing you the image you expect to have, you need to compare the current view to some reference view for that camera. Verifying image correctness is just not something you can do by analyzing network protocols. To be able to answer such questions, you can't use off-the-shelf components. Typical IP monitoring is used to monitor that specific protocols are live and operating as expected. You must be sure that your monitoring software is monitoring the right protocols, like RTSP, for example, and that your software analyzes the response that those protocols give, the storage contents and the image. That is the software that Argus develops and also integrates into our customers' workflow. We understand that operators of large security camera systems have established practices for manually monitoring cameras, and therefore we work on integrating the information we provide into their workflow. Now, of course, you can say that your operators will catch any problems because they look at all the cameras constantly. Well, to you, I say good luck, and we'll be here if you change your mind.